On.
Okay, call this meeting to order. Let's start with a roll call, please.
Mr. Dice?
Here.
Mrs. Ling?
Here.
Mr. Stepanovich?
Here.
Mr. McKenna?
Here.
Mr. Spadaro?
Here.
Mr. Lemak?
Here.
Dr. Lee Corns? Mayor Sinan?
Here.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Mr. Morrison, do we have any unlisted amendments tonight?
No, sir.
Thank you. That brings us to our consent calendar items. Do we have any questions or concerns about the consent calendar items?
None here.
Could I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve the consent calendar items, the A, B, and C.
Okay, motion is second. I'll just note for the record, I'm abstaining from any payments to KU Resources. With that being said, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Comments by the mayor.
Thanks, Mr. Dice. So we're up already. Okay, first on the list is there's going to be park survey and park improvements discussion held at the neighborhood parks. And there'll be park meetings at 6 p.m. May the 3rd at Kovalchik Park, May 10th Heritage Park, May 17th Bear Hollow Park, May 24th Chambers Park, and May 31st Pedora Park. If you have any questions, call the Recreation Department here, 724-327-2100, extension 115. Next is there's going to be a, calling all true crime fans, there's going to be a true crime stories with retired U.S. Department of Justice Senior Special Agent David Grace, Thursday, April 28th at 7 p.m., Murrysville Community Center. Please register for this free program at www.murrysvilleparecreation.com. It's sponsored, looks like, by the Lions Club, or you could call here 724-327-2100, extension 131 for additional information. Beyond Spring Cleaning, Tuesday, April the 26th. It's a get organized and get your life organized. There's a fee for it. It's at the Murrysville Community Center from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Jody Adams, a certified professional organizer. Again, the same website and also the same phone number with extension 131 with any questions. Sounds like something could help a lot of people. Next is a cooking series. First, Let's Get Saucy, Wednesday, April 27th, time 5:30, Murrysville Community Center, fee $20. The instructor is Erica Etzler. Again, same website, Murrysville, PA Recreation, extension 131. Another special from Penn State Extension is presented is Eat Your Weeds, Saturday, May 7th at 10 a.m. You register at the Murrysville, PA Recreation. Instructors Barb McMillan. Says yank, pull, dig, spray. Weeding is a gardener's most dreaded task, but did you know that you can eat many of your common weeds? It's being held at the Wetlands Pavilion, Murrysville Community Park. Next week is Pleasant Valley Landfill Week, April 25th through the 29th, during the hours 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday, April 30th, there's from 7 to 11 a.m. Permit passes must accompany you. They're available at the Municipal Reception Desk, 4100 Sardis Road, Murrysville. That concludes my announcements for this evening.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yep.
That brings us to comments by the Chief Administrator.
Two comments, Mr. President. First, we're going to have to postpone the open house at the clubhouse. We've been unable, due to weather, to get out there and get the parking lot stoned and the access road stoned. So I know you're all looking forward to that, so we'll let you know when we're able to get onto the site. The second item is we received dividend checks from our workers' comp program, Municipal Risk Management, in the amount of $87,529. That represents 35% of our premium. And then also under the MRM program, the property casualty and liability insurance, a dividend of $12,006, which represents 26% of our premium.
Wow.
That's it.
All right, thank you. Sounds like more good work from MRM. That brings us to community input. Thank you. For the good of the order, is there anyone who wants to give community input? Okay. That brings us to liaison comments and committee reports. Let's start with Matt.
Parks and Recreation met on April 12th. The 2022 officers were voted on. There was a little bit of delay there, so we finally got the officers in place. Dave Metzger is the president, Master Caruso is the vice president, and Ben Sampson is the secretary. $150 donation was received for Duff Park from a resident who enjoys the park, so thank you very much to that resident. Public Works and the Parks Department opened all the park restrooms and are working on Pedora Park playground area, which people probably saw some of the construction stuff there, and the retaining wall. So we're working on that now and prepping the baseball fields anytime it's not raining. The weather hasn't been too cooperative for us recently. The Easter events went very well. Thank you to everyone who volunteered. They did 85 homes for Egg My Yard, 23 dogs for the Easter pet photos, and 350 treat bags were distributed for the Easter drive-through. The commission members are reviewing the neighborhood park survey and results and will assist in the park meetings that the mayor had mentioned that are going to be happening here over the next few months, or the next month or so. And we're also continuing the efforts at Kelman and Skeena Reserves to get the trail signs installed. At Townsend Park, the Scout Shoemaker had completed the trail signs there, so that is all done. And the Gaga Ball pits, we'll see work there as soon as the weather breaks for that. So other than that, just a huge thank you to Carly Green and Parks and Rec Department and Bill Piano for Public Works for, I mean, this weather's been awful and they're doing everything possible. We got lots of baseball and all kinds of things going on, and we're getting tons of calls. So just can't thank them enough for the effort they're putting in. And hopefully just pray for dry and wind. That's about it.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
Jamie?
I was unable to attend the last school board meeting. The next school board meeting is May 2nd, and then on May 18th, there's a curriculum meeting, and May 26th, there's a finance meeting.
Awesome.
I'll give you the updates after going to those.
Awesome, thank you. Done?
Medic 1 meets tomorrow night.
Okay.
The Planning Commission met on the last Tuesday, on the 12th. A major point of discussion was Tommy's Car Wash, and this is a franchise. Chuck Hergenritter is the attorney, and they also had an engineering representative there. It's a zone business. There are some private residences across from, on Old William Penn Highway from what will be Tommy's Car Wash. There's going to be 2 lanes leading into a 90-foot long tunnel. There's going to be 13 vacuum positions. I think it's good that they're each going to be 14 feet wide. There's going to be 2 or 3 full-time employees involved. The 20% glazing requirement was met. The pervious payment requirements are going, it was agreed that they will be met, and that has to be something they will be looking into. It's indicated that a full-sized pickup with a cab and an 8-foot bed will be able to access the curvature getting into the car wash, which is really a challenge. The water within the wash water, if you will, within the car wash, goes through a reclamation system, so that's a good thing. The lighting will be a standard, the 17-foot standards shoebox footprint for the lighting. The traffic report is in process. As far as the exterior of the building, initially it was shown to the Planning Commission to be something that looked like, the word was said Kennywood. It was just very large, loud, and kind of brash, but if you're looking to have people come into your car wash, that's what you do from Route 22. But Anthony on the Planning Commission was savvy enough to look through, while we were speaking there, their website, Tommy's Car Wash, and there are more traditional, if you will, facades for the car wash, which I think is what's going to happen. It's not going to be so glarish, if you will. A noise study will be done. Planning did not approve it to right now, not that it won't be approved, but it was not approved at this particular meeting. Second issue was the Battaglia Seco lot revision, and that was approved by Planning. There was also an advisory meeting from some gentlemen looking to, there's a 19.3 acre site in and about Sardis Road, Logan's Ferry, and the high-rise structure in that location, and they're looking to possibly develop there. And a lot of discussion on that, but the comment was, in that it was an advisory meeting, that they should basically check with their engineer and make sure that it's plausible to go forward with this. They did indicate that this was going to be probably keyed towards seniors, but there's no reason why anybody couldn't. It's not a 55 or over development. It's for basically anybody who would move there. So, and that was it.
Okay, thanks, Carl. Jason?
The library meets tomorrow evening, so I'll have a report next council meeting.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, that brings us to our workshop items, and we are going to begin with a presentation by KU Resources on the status of the Logan's Ferry and Heather Highlands Bridge projects.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you for the opportunity to come and present this to you this evening.
And if you could, sir, please just speak into the microphone, just so people at home can hear you. Thank you.
Start over. Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you for this opportunity to come and meet with you tonight and talk about the study that we did. KU Resources did this study in conjunction with WSP. My name is Ron Carolla from KU Resources, and this is Lou Ruzzi with WSP. Just a little bit of background. Lou and I worked together years and years ago at District 12 in the bridge unit. I think we were probably 12 years old back then. But we've stayed in touch all throughout the years. And Lou had just recently retired as district bridge engineer in District 11. So I thought it was a good opportunity to tap into Lou's expertise. He has been administering bridges in this area for a long, long time. So I thought it was a good opportunity to get Lou and bring him along on a project, and we appreciate the partnership with WSP.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Not wanting to load.
The districts you're referring to are Pennsylvania PennDOT districts?
Yeah. PennDOT District 11's Pittsburgh, PennDOT District 12, which Murrysville's part of, is in Union.
No luck on that, Jim?
No, you might as well go ahead here till I
Okay.
mess around with
Well,
it.
I do have the notes, so I'll just forge ahead.
Okay.
Okay. So we did the introductions, and what we studied, what we looked at. We looked at three things. We looked at a new alignment that was just north of the Franklintown Court Bridge up on Sardis Road. It was an alignment that was first studied by the Markowski Group several years ago. So out of the study that they did, we only looked at that one alignment up north of the, I guess it's north of the Logan Ferry / Franklintown Court intersection. And then we looked at replacing the superstructures on Franklintown Court and Heather Drive bridges. And we also looked at the cost and the schedules involved with full replacement for both of those bridges. So what we found, recommendations. After looking at it, our recommendations is to do a superstructure replacement on the two bridges. So a superstructure replacement is just exactly that. The abutments and wing walls stay in place. You take off the old superstructure, replace it with a new superstructure. Anything you want to add to? Yeah.
Is that what you want up?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Superstructure, if you're not familiar, would be the beams and the deck.
So that saves some costs over replacing the whole bridge. We feel after looking at the inspection reports and reviewing the bridge conditions that the substructure is in good enough shape to take a new superstructure and still give a good remaining service life to the bridge. So you want to,
50 years, we estimate 40 to 50 years.
after the superstructure replacement. So what we have is significantly less expensive than the new alignment. Our estimate for the new alignment is $3.3 million. And we're basically $1 million for a superstructure replacement and $1.4 for a complete replacement. And that would be per bridge. That would be for bridge. Do you want to talk about the funding options in the schedule?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so
Where you want to
Right.
be there? Right there?
why don't we start with that picture of that bridge in place? So this is the type of bridge you're looking at. It's a pre-stress adjacent box beam with asphalt overlay on these decks. This has been a problematic bridge. This bridge fell, or this beam fell over I-70. This is called the Lakeview Bridge in Washington County. I believe it was around 2006. And that's the type of bridge Murrysville has with these two types of bridges. So it's a problematic bridge that doesn't have a lot of extended life left in it. I think you can go to the next slide, Jim, please. I believe we're looking at 5 to 10 years remaining life on these bridges. Even though you just had some repairs that were done on them. They just, because of the nature of the asphalt overlay, it's like a sponge. You're getting the salts and the water just going down into the top of the box beam. It continues to deteriorate where you can't see it. So that's why you only have the 5 to 10 years left. So we're, of course, we're saying to proceed with funding and do the new design. Next slide. With the funding, just so you know, on the Murrysville, we looked at 3 different ways of doing this. If this was self-funded, partially with design, self-funded the entire project, and then if you went through the TIP process with PennDOT. And you can see those numbers in front of you, for the Franklintown or the Logan's Ferry Bridge. If you just went through the TIP process with PennDOT, you'd be at $50,000 cost to Murrysville. On the Heather Drive Bridge, that cost would be $47,000. So a total of about $97,000 for both bridges through Murrysville. If you get in, some municipalities, they like to take the whole process on themselves. They think, there's a benefit to that and they can get it done faster. They think that PennDOT holds them up on projects. I know in talking with PennDOT District 12 down there, they like to do bundled projects. So if you put these two bridges together, they like that, and they could even do the design for Murrysville. And with them doing the project, they can, it'll get more focus on it compared to a typical local project, which is up against all the other local municipalities that were trying to get their bridges on the tip. Now, our thinking was that we would prepare a letter for Murrysville to go to PennDOT and lay this out for them for these superstructure replacements. And now they're nearing the end of the TIP process right now. It's going to go to the State Transportation Committee here, get voted on in September. So now during that time frame, projects get let. Sometimes there's cost savings. You may be able to approach the PennDOT and might be able to get some of those cost savings to start design on that. Otherwise, if they also use that savings sometimes for overruns on their own projects. So otherwise, then the next time you'll have an opportunity, probably about a year from now, they start asking for new projects for the next tip cycle, which would then start October 1 of 2022. So, those are a couple options as far as going after funding with PennDOT and going that route. I'm a little bit biased. Being at PennDOT, I treated local projects just like I did state projects. We tried to move them along as quickly as possible, but the problem was just getting them on the tip in the first place because there was just so much competition with all the other municipalities. So, but the thing with PennDOT doing the project, if they were able to accept a bundled project down there, you get the attention it deserves. I think it'd be a little bit higher priority than the normal local project. And, if you could get the funding by, say, October 1, 2024 to start design, you'd probably be able to be in construction by 2027 for all these, which would put you about 5 years away. And, from there you could decide on, which one you want to do first. We would probably recommend going with Logan's Ferry first. You could let them at the same time, do the construction on Logan's Ferry first, and then do Heather Drive second. So I guess that was pretty much an overview of what we thought, and I don't know what else you wanted to add there, Ron, if you want to move on with the rest of it.
I think there's a couple of things there. One, this is on both these bridges are on a 6-month review, estimating a life of 5 to 10 years, and the bridges will probably last that period of time. However, the downside of that is, as these inspections continue on a 6-month basis, the weight limit requirements may change as these bridges continue to deteriorate. So by pushing this out by schedule, we may lose some availability of the bridges to some types of traffic that go through. So I just want to point that out, that possibility exists. The other thing is that I think should be pointed out that if we look at new construction for the Logan's Ferry, there are some significant challenges there with alignments, with curvature of the Logan's Ferry Road, and Haymaker Run being a high-quality water stream and the ability to encroach on that. So I think that's why the conclusion was made that we're probably better off replacing the superstructure on the bridge. Although there will be permitting processes necessary for Haymaker Run, I think it'd be less than the earth moving that would have to occur there at Logan's Ferry to realign that whole intersection down there.
And I think we looked at, too, the removing the sidewalk from that bridge. That would give us more width across there and help with the traffic movements.
Is there a possibility of us not getting on the tip schedule in the next cycle?
There's always that possibility. You're up. You do have a chance. A year from now, they typically go through the cycle of updating their construction costs on all their other projects, but they do leave room to get new designs on for state and local bridges. There's an and that would be a time where you'd want to say, hey, I need the money, and hopefully you could convince them that these are important enough bridges for the community to get them on the tip. There's also a period of time around September, it would be around September of 2023, where you can testify at the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission. And also, you get 5 minutes to talk about your bridges that you want on the tip. They have hearings, and you can also go down and ask for it then as well. But I would try to get it on the current tip, which goes into effect October 1 of this year, because they're going to let projects, there's going to be some cost savings possibly, and they might be able to throw you some design money to get it started.
Admittedly, it's a political process too, and certainly we'll exhaust all avenues to try to promote that as much as we can. The other thing, Logan's Ferry is a pretty critical road here in Murrysville. If that bridge goes, access to that side of the community is limited, carries a number of cars if you've been down there at rush hour. So, we can make the case for the need there, and it'll be up to us to work the political side of it to try to encourage our elected officials to take a look at the project and do what they can. The other side of it is, if you recall, through our capital and budgeting process, we've been planning to replace these bridges. So if worse comes to worse, we'll be in a better position in a year or two than we are now to resolve these two situations. I will remind you there is a third bridge that we haven't completed the study on yet, but will be forthcoming soon, and that's the Kelcam Bridge. We've recognized the problem. We've begun planning for it financially. The most cost-effective way for the municipality is through the TIP plan, and we'll, as I said, we'll work the political side as much as we can to try to bring it to the attention to PennDOT and Southwest Regional Planning Commission.
When you work through PennDOT like that, is it more of a funding and we solicit the design of it, or does PennDOT design for us or utilize their resources for?
Typically, I mean, they can.
Is it kind of a little
The way that works is that if you go through this bundling process, you basically sign over the ownership of the bridge to PennDOT during the time it's being designed and being constructed, and then it comes back to you after it's built.
Okay.
They usually can select a consultant, or they could decide to design it in-house for you, and they would perform the design that way. I think I would say that it would be quicker if you do the superstructure replacement than a full replacement, obviously.
Right.
So, did I answer your question?
Yeah.
They assume the liability too.
I don't know that they'd assume the
Well, they're the
liability of the bridge. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Good luck with that.
I don't know that they'd take over the repairs of it. I think it's just for the purpose of the design and construction.
Do they ever forget to give?
I'm thinking more of a car collapsing with a car on it.
Do they ever forget to give the bridge back?
No, they never do. No.
I have another question.
Yes,
for
ma'am.
you. So you had said that the expected life of both bridges is 5 to 10 years as they are currently. So if it's going to take with the TIP program 5 years to start construction, did you foresee any expected major repairs that would have to take place in order for us to stay out of any type of violations?
Well, fortunately, you guys just did some repairs on both those bridges. When we were down there last, we didn't see any additional deterioration happening. But there's a chance that you could end up having to do the same type of repair to different beams, or the concrete that was put on the beams that you repaired could pop off again and you'd have to do it again.
Yeah, so if another strand becomes exposed or another strand breaks and that pops off, that would be something that you'd probably want to take care of, and just to keep the bridges in service. And that's what we did. We cleaned all the salt-laden concrete out. We cleaned the strands, we galvanized the strands, and put fresh grout back around the strands to keep them from rusting further. So you certainly don't want to lose any more capacity on the bridge.
The other thing you could choose to do too is do nothing, and then you'd reduce, and probably end up reducing the posting on it, which for right now they're in the upper 30, or their 30s, low 30s, I believe. Right now you can get with that kind of posting, you can still get fire trucks across your bridge, ambulances and such. You start, when you get down under I think it's under 30. What was that? 20?
24.
24. You might be restricting some fire trucks. PennDOT could still make an analysis run on that, and you still might be able to get a pumper truck or something smaller across your bridges. When you get down around 6, you're into an ambulance. So you still got a little bit. You still got some time. That's another way to approach it if you don't want to do repairs. But I wouldn't do that unless you were far enough into design and you were pretty sure you were going to get these bridges, superstructures replaced.
So when the superstructure is replaced, the current manufacturer you said was with the asphalt, which was allowing for the salt. Is this going to be done in a different way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it would be with new beams, new and a concrete deck would be placed on top of it. So you wouldn't get that sponge-like effect into the top of the beams.
Just as a question, maybe administrative, Murkowski Engineering, and they are still in existence?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and why did we not consult them or use them?
Well, we used the study that they produced. It was part of the traffic impact planning. However, with KU being the consulting engineer, we contracted with them for those services, for the specific review of these bridges.
Okay. As far as, I mean, looking at the financials, and not to state those right now, but why would any municipality look at doing other than tip? There's such a large difference in the cost. I mean, with tip, you're paying 5% and...
Well, I can speak for my own municipality, South Park in Allegheny County. I mean, it's sometimes, in Allegheny, it's a lot more competition to get a project on a tip, and they got tired of waiting. They wanted to get it done, and they were willing, and the bridges were smaller than these, and they were willing to put out the money for design and construction to do it. It was worth their while to do that. Now, the other in-between measure is that you fund the design, and then you go to PennDOT and try to get it on construction. That's another way to do it. They look favorably in my old district that way. But, and that's what you get into. I think the cost goes up on the design when PennDOT gets involved, because you have to follow manuals. You have to follow federal criteria. Some municipalities are willing to take that risk and hire somebody that maybe has done work for PennDOT, but let them do the design and not do everything that they're supposed to according to the manuals.
In looking through the information, there was a connector between Logan's Ferry and Sardis, and
Yes.
You know what I'm referring to. Okay. I have no idea what that is. I mean, I know connection, bing, bing, but how, where, when, why? I mean, how would that, here, people in Franklin Town, now, during construction of the Logan's Ferry Bridge, necessarily they're going to have to go around and up Logan's Ferry. But how do they go over to Sardis?
They'd have to go through Heather Highlands.
I go through Heather Highland.
Well, that's the question.
We're gonna put more
ahead.
wear and tear on that bridge, obviously, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, the connector, is it actually going through Heather Highlands?
Are you talking about the new road? Is that what you mean by connector?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
as part of the Murkowski study, there were several alternatives evaluated for the Logan's Ferry intersection. One of them was the recommendation to build a new bridge, eliminate the Logan's Ferry Bridge and the Heather Highland Bridge from Logan's Ferry to Sardis Road. And it's a good project. However, the costs there are significant.
I would believe.
There's no land, the land would have to be acquired, probably through eminent domain. Still have to build a bridge across Haymaker Run. And the cost associated with that are probably greater than what it would be to replace the structures on these two existing bridges.
So during construction, it'll be going through, as Mac just mentioned, then going through Heather Highlands, which is a necessary.
That's one way. I mean, can't you go all the way up to the top?
I'm sure when we get to that time that there will be routes laid out to detour.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon to have an official detour, but the local folks go side streets and get to where they need to without following the official detour.
Okay.
I mean, one thing, you have a posted bridge there at Heather, and so you can't get too heavy of vehicles going across it. They would probably have to run
Right.
Logan's Ferry up further and come back down Sardis.
I'd also commend KU for bringing in, if you will, a retired PennDOT. Were you with PennDOT also?
I was, yes. We worked
Okay,
together
well.
years ago.
Hey, good. Good.
If I could just ask
Sure.
one question. I know the design's not done or even started, but typically for these size bridges, how long does a superstructure take to replace? Is it a 3-month, 6-month ballpark?
The construction of it,
Yep. Say go.
I've done these in 3 to 5 days.
Oh,
I've done them as long as 30 days. But we've done them in a weekend.
Okay.
as quickly as a weekend on Route 30 over Bessemer Avenue.
Well, that does come with added costs.
Yeah. Yeah, these costs are kind of typical average programming costs that I used when I was bridge engineer. But yeah, you do get into some extra costs because you're bringing more crews out, you're doing it faster. The type of construction that we propose uses ultra-high performance concrete, which is $6,000 a yard. But it gets to 22,000 PSI in 6 hours. So, but it costs more, you know, to get. So there's always extra costs when you go that route, but you get it done quick.
Okay, thank you.
And all that would be looked into when you go into preliminary engineering. So you do a type, size, and location study, and that sort of thing can be looked at that point just to see what the most cost-effective is, because there's obviously schedule impacts have costs also. So you put that all together and look at that in preliminary engineering.
And with, you mentioned it would be, most likely be a concrete design that you drive over.
Yes.
So that won't last 40 to 50 years, right? The concrete?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Without having to, with all the salt and brine that's
Yeah.
dumped on there? Yeah. Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and you can even take it a step further and put we've put epoxy overlays, concrete, other different types of concrete overlays on there, so then all you have to do is take that overlay off and it protects that superstructure even longer. So that's, if you want to pay a little bit extra, that's another option.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any further questions or concerns? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you all.
Yes, great presentation.
Okay, that brings us to Public Works and Parks. It is a presentation of the results of the citizen survey.
Yeah, thanks. How are we doing with Calcan? Good, all right, thank you.
Good evening, Council. I just wanted to provide an update to you tonight about the Neighborhood Park Survey. It did run the months of March and April and, February and March, and we started collecting data in April. We received 291 responses, which was a pretty good turnout. It's about where we were for the study at the Murrysville Community Park. So this survey addressed our neighborhood parks, Bear Hollow, Chambers, Heritage, Pedora, and Kovalchik. And this came about a year ago whenever Bill started researching costs on retrofitting some of the existing amenities like the tennis courts and everything. And costs are significant. So we sat around as staff and decided that before we just start flagrantly replacing what's in the parks, identify what is actually needed, what's getting used, what amenities the residents would like to see. So all those questions were part of the survey, even including how long they've lived there and used the parks, and age and gender. We tried to get the whole gamut. So we got a lot of wonderful responses. People were very involved in this and want to have their voices heard. The most requested amenities for these neighborhood parks are restrooms. Currently, right now, they have just porta-johns and trails, pickleball, and improvements to all the existing court facilities were top of the request there. We got a lot of comments just generally about the parks, and they weren't outlandish. They weren't anything that, that isn't feasible. A lot of folks just want to see general improvements to what's already there and repurposing some unused areas, especially some basketball courts and deck hockey courts and things like that. And Bill and I are working on that. We are researching costs, options, what can be replaced without investing a whole lot of money, because costs are increasing daily here on everything. And we're working with the Parks and Recreation Commission to identify ideas, needs, and prioritize the different parks and facilities, And as the mayor mentioned earlier, I am going to host meetings in each of the parks during the month of May, so I could speak to the residents and explain to them our process for funding and how much some of these amenities actually cost, and that we do, work on a 5-year capital improvement plan, and we'll try to implement as many of these as possible, but it can't all be done at once. So I think just having really open conversation with the residents will help further this along and help us to identify and prioritize time for budgeting.
If you recall, as part of our capital budgeting effort, we're going to identify one neighborhood park each year through the capital budgeting process and to try to address the specific needs tailored to the request that we received through this survey. I think that it was no surprise that the restrooms were a big item. However, there are challenges with the restroom. It's just not putting a restroom there. You have to get water to it, you have to get sewage to it, and the return on the investment is versus a porta-john is quite a long time. So those are the kinds of things that Carly will be armed with when she goes out for the neighborhood meetings. Walking trails, things like that, we can manage internally with Public Works, but the capital investments, we'll have to take a close eye. And again, through the budgeting process, we looked at maybe $100,000 a year for these neighborhood parks to address them, bring them up to standards, meet the needs of the neighborhoods as the neighborhoods begin to change over.
Any questions?
It seems preliminary right now, meaning
Right.
to ask questions on our part, so I don't know what to say.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, Carl.
Why did I just say nothing, right?
All right, that brings us to our council items. I have a motion for 13A, please.
I'd like to make a motion to consider authorization to advertise ordinance number 1058-22, an ordinance to amend the code of the municipality of Murrysville, chapter 210, thereof entitled Vehicles and Traffic, as follows. To add to schedule, not really good with my Roman numerals here, 13, parking prohibited at all times, Surrey Farms Road from Carousel Drive to Manor Road.
Jason and Jamie. Jim?
We discussed this at the last meeting. We've had ongoing code violations up there. We have issues with snow removal, sight distance for buses, and this, although drastic act is, I believe, necessary. This ordinance would permit us to post that as no parking and to enforce it.
Okay. We talked about this at our last meeting. Are there any new questions or concerns?
Nope.
They still parking there, Jim? Since
Yes,
seen
they
it on
are.
the paper?
Yes, they are.
They still are.
Not for long. Okay, if there's no questions and concerns, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Now, before we have a motion for 13B, I think the mayor would like to say a few words.
Yes, first I would like to thank folks that helped me reach this conclusion to make this recommendation. An in-house, that was Jim Morrison, Diane Hemming, and Chief Seafeld. And then there was also an outside committee appointed, which was Mr. Mytall, Mr. Rumbaugh, Mr. Dice, Dr. Lee Corns, and Mr. Hergenroeder. And we came to a unanimous decision on Mr. Nestico. I'd like to read just a short bio on Michael. Michael Nestico is a graduate of Pennsylvania State University and the Western New England University School of Law. He began his career in the city of Jeannette as treasurer and became the city manager in 2015. In 2018, Michael became the borough manager in Tarentum. Michael is a member of the Westmoreland County and Pennsylvania Bar Association and is a member of the Public Employer Labor Relations Advisory Service of the Pennsylvania Municipal League. Michael and his wife Nicole have 3 children and currently reside in Jeannette. And per the statement, I do make this recommendation to council.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor. So with that being said, let's start with a motion for 13B.
I'll make a motion to consider the mayor's recommendation for the appointment of Michael Nastico as chief administrator effective June 6, 2022.
Second.
Thank you, Mac and Tony. Now, this is just for the appointment. Are there any questions or concerns? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it's unanimous. That brings us to 13C for the agreement. Can I have a motion, please?
I'd like to consider authorization to enter in an agreement with Michael, is that Nestico or Nestico?
Nastico.
Michael Nestico to perform the duties of Chief Administrator effective June 6, 2022.
Second?
Thanks, Tony and Carl. Now, are there any questions or concerns about the agreement? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, wonderful. Welcome aboard, yeah.
Congratulations.
Okay, I guess that brings us to 13D. Can I have a motion, please?
Consider approval of resolution number 75322, authorizing, empowering, and directing the proper officers of the governing board to appoint a liaison between it and Berkheimer, the duly appointed collector of earned income tax for the district, for the express purpose of sharing confidential tax information with the district for official purposes.
Second.
Carl and Jason? JC?
This is the same as the current policy. It's amending the required listed representative between the municipality of Murrysville and Berkheimer when dealing with anything in regards to the earned income tax. There's no change from the past practices.
Okay, pretty clerical. Any questions or concerns?
No. No.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, J.C.
Thank you. That brings us to 13E. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to consider approval of resolution number 754-22, a resolution accepting a grant in the amount of $13,212 from the Westmoreland County District Attorney's Investigative Fund number 2 for the purchase of license plate reader cameras for the intersection of Trafford Road at Route 22.
Second. Let's go Mac and Tony. Jim, anything to add?
It's a follow-up from the last meeting. We had the district attorney here presenting the check for the license plate readers. As you recall, the intent is to place one at the Trafford Road intersection of 22 and another at Mellon Road, Manor Road intersection. The license plate reader at the Manor Road intersection will be funded as a result of the sales of the motorcycles.
Okay. Questions or concerns from council?
Not a concern, but more a question. The information garnered by this will be presented to Chief Seafield, the Murrysville Police?
It will be available to the municipality of Murrysville's police department. That's correct, for investigations.
And that was, I think, and that was kind of made clear that it wasn't speeding cameras or they're for criminal investigation.
That's correct. It's
Only.
monitor the traffic coming through.
That actually isn't, does this in any way link into Allegheny County's?
No, it does not. No, this would be standalone here in Murrysville.
It's not provided to the state police then, or
It could be if requested.
if requested?
Yes, it's recorded.
Okay. Questions or concerns? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And another big thank you to Ms. Ziccarelli. That brings us to 14A. Can I have a motion, please?
I'd like to consider approval of resolution number 755-22, a resolution amending the Municipalities Act 537 Stores Facility Plan for the construction of a force main system to serve 6 homes on General Forbes Road.
Second.
Thanks, Tony and Jason. Jim?
General Forbes Road has, I believe, 12 lots on it. That's cul-de-sac over by Bella Melise, the new housing development there, and backs up to Plan and Penn Township with the golf.
Franklin Estates.
No, the golf course.
Blackthorn.
Blackthorn.
Thank you, Blackthorn. Those homes over there are on septic systems. These 6 homes have failing systems, so they've worked with the Franklin Township Municipal Sewer Authority to design a system for them to connect to the sanitary sewers that were put into Bella Melise. They're at a lower elevation, so they have to be pumped. That's the reason for the force main. So they'll be placing a 2-inch force, 2-inch line with pumps at each of the residents, forcing it up to the Bella Melise sanitary system.
Okay.
Okay. Questions or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Can I have a motion for 14B, please?
Make a motion to consider approval of S-2-22, a lot line revision and consolidation of parcels 49-16-00-0-034 and also 49-16-00-0-037 and also 49-16-00-0-078 and finally 49-16-00-0-088 to create only 2 parcels and convey .70 acres from the Seco property to the new Battaglia property. And it's 3030 and 3060 Ketchy Court, and it's RR zoning.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Mac and Carl. Jim?
If you took a look at the proposed subdivision, it's not as complicated as the plan looks. This all started with, I believe, Mr. Seco wanting to put a shed on his property and couldn't meet the side yard requirements for the shed. And so went about consolidating and doing some subdivision to accomplish that. After a couple renditions, review, we finally got it right, and we propose the council consider this for approval.
Okay, pretty simple here, just moving some parcels. Any questions or concerns?
No.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. That brings us to 15A. Can I have a motion, please?
Consider reducing the sequestered funds being held to ensure completion of the required improvements at the Hillstone Village development in the amount of $140,649.80.
Second.
Jamie and Tony. Jim?
The work under the request for the reduction of the bond has been inspected by the engineering department, and we recommend reduction of the bond.
Okay, questions or concerns from council? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to 15B. Can I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to consider the award of a contract for the DPW-2-21 Basin retrofit project in the amount of $76,694.
Second the motion.
Thank you, Jason and Carl. Jim?
Yes, these are material bids for various supplies for Public Works Department. I would request council reject the bids for the asphalt, and the reason being is that we had requested as part of the specification super pave. Super pave is not the correct material for us to be using for patching on our roads. We would prefer to use the ID2 top. In the past, we've been using the super pave because of PennDOT requirements under the liquid fuels monies that we receive. However, the patching on the roads is going to be paid out of general fund expenditures, so we're not limited to the specifications as they're required by PennDOT. It's a much better product. To show you the difference, the super paved roads, if you've noticed, we're getting probably 8 years out of them now before they begin cracking. It's very porous material. Or if you go on Berlin Farm Road, we in-house overlaid that with ID2 top, and that road was a mess before it was overlaid, and it's held up marvelously over the years. So I would recommend to council they consider approval of all the various materials, reject the bids for the asphalt, and to direct staff to re-advertise for the ID top for the patching asphalt material.
Okay, so for tonight, we are awarding the bid.
For all the road materials with the exception of the asphalt.
Okay, do
We need to amend that.
Yeah, do we need to amend the motion?
I would recommend that you do that.
Okay, so it would be, we would require that the motion be amended to reject all bids received for the asphalt overlay?
For the asphalt material. It's not the overlay, it would be the asphalt material.
So stated correctly, it would be, the motion would be amended to reject all bids for the asphalt material.
That's correct.
Somebody make a motion to that effect? You could just say so moved.
So I'll make a motion.
Question.
Yeah.
I have a question. So we're looking to approve 76,694, but the bid from the Pugliano Construction Company was 113,944. Is that because of the difference?
Go ahead, Bill.
I think what happened here is, Jim, they didn't get a motion for the last the item. I think they're on the item 15B.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Again, please?
I think you're still on 15B. What Jim's referring to is 16A,
I'm
material
sorry.
bids.
I jumped the gun there. That's correct.
Okay, so,
Well, then I
This is
still
the-
have that question, though.
I will comment on that.
Yeah.
I will comment on that when the motion is made for the basin retrofit. Is that the motion on the floor?
Yeah, that was the
Okay.
motion.
Originally, the contract for the basin retrofit, there was 5 basins included in that. The bids come in astronomically. So we're recommending that we reduce the number of basins to be corrected under this to 3 for the amount of $76,694. The original budget amount for that project was $40,000. I believe the lowest bid was $113,000. We've added a basin on that's in Somerville that is being required to be addressed because it is shared by Plum Borough and the municipality of Murrysville. But it's in Murrysville. It's Murrysville's basin, part of Plum's MS4 program. It's the basin that the bottom of what is that, Somerville that goes down? Sits in, Holiday Park that sits in the middle of the road. You go around it, that's the basin. So we're recommending that we award the bid for the 3 bids for $76,000, including the one on Somerville, or in Somerville on Holiday Park Drive.
was this bid on a unit price method such that we can just do this?
They were bid, each pond was bid as an item, line item in the bid.
Any other questions or concerns about 15B? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Now that brings us to 16A. Can I have a motion, please?
Consider the awarding of contracts for various road materials and line painting for the Department of Public Works for the contract year of June 1, 2022 to May 31, 2023.
I promise to pay attention this time.
Second.
With Jamie and Tony. Jim?
Go ahead, Bill.
Okay.
I already let it in for you.
Well, we would like to, as Jim already alluded to, take out the part of the asphalt. We'd like to strike that from the bid. We intend to rebid that with a ID2 wearing, which Jim has already did a very good presentation on what we want to do, what we have already seen as longevity, and for what prices are coming back now, we have to stretch what we have, and I think staff agrees that we go back to ID2 wearing, at least for what Public Works is doing. So we would like you to accept the bids for stone, pipe, concrete products, street signs, and line painting. We have shallowed up a little bit on the line painting also. We have Route 22 coming up within the next couple of years. We'll entertain to do that. We'll budget that for next year. But we would like you to consider the rest of the bid.
Well, note the last column on the bid tabulation was provided to you. You can see the way material prices are increasing.
Yeah, unbelievable. Okay, so we would still, though, this is the motion we should amend to reject all bids for asphalt material.
That's correct, Mr. President.
So would somebody like to amend the motion to reject?
I'll give that one a whirl. Jim? I make a motion to consider the awarding of the contracts for various road materials and line painting for the Department of Public Works for the contract year of June 1st, 2022 to May 31st, 2023, excluding any asphalt material as part of that motion.
And rejecting all bids.
Rejecting all asphalt material bids.
Second.
Okay, so we're going to vote on to amend the motion first. So all those in favor of amending the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. No other questions or concerns. We're now going to vote on the actual motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.
I'll take full credit for that. I think Jim had his plan at 2 o'clock here, and I just ran up to him shortly and says, hey, make sure they amend that motion. So I'll take the beating for that one. Excuse me, counsel.
Okay, that brings us to 16B. Can I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to consider authorization to bid DPW-6-22 for the coating of the metal roof on the public services facility and salt building.
Second the motion.
Thanks, Jason and Carl. Bill?
Okay, long about 2016, we started to see the refurbish of the public works roofs in the CIP. It finally came to fruition here in 2020 when I had a contractor come and we took a look at what was going to be necessary to refurbish those roofs. In the meantime, we've had a couple repairs that we had to do. Of course, we know 2020, all spending was shut off, so this project was curbed at that point. Last year it was brought up, and of course, prices inflated already at that point, so we parked it again. This year it's back in front of us. There is money budgeted for this refurbishment, which will probably be a coating put on top of a metal roof. I don't have any more information. They finally were able to get on our roof today and finish a pull test, which is actually putting material on the roof and seeing what it's going to take for the metal to fail. So that job was finally done today. That company tried for, it's been weeks now, trying to get up there. It had to be dry, and with this being our third day of the month that it was dry, you can understand that we're a little behind on paperwork. So our intention is to bid this out and have somebody coat our roof for this year.
Okay. Questions or concerns about going out for bid?
Those were the original roofs from 1995, I believe, right?
Wow.
What's the square footage of the roofs?
246,000 and some feet. I don't have that for me right here.
Okay. Certainly look into that.
And those are the two located here, right?
Correct. This would be the main garage and the salt building roof. The salt building roof is actually giving us more trouble for leakage than the main roof at this point. We have done some work over the years on it. We tried to get up and caulk all the seams. tab in any rust that we can do. But it's to the point now where we have to have somebody professionally come in here and make the changes to this roof. We don't want to lose that roof. What I've learned today, the roof is in pretty decent shape. The paint's just about off of it. I want to say that building was guaranteed for 20 years, and you were right up at your 20-year mark in 2018, so we'll need to start doing some improvements to that building to keep them.
And how long will this coating last?
Hoping to get a 20-year warranty on this. It comes out as a 10-year warranty, and I would like to have it extended through, there'll be different phases of inspection once a year, but I can get this to come to a 20-year warranty.
Okay. Any questions or concerns?
Just as a question, with like a 20-year warranty, companies come, companies go, and so forth, is there any protection via a bond that, you know, the bidder would have to provide a bond for some number of years?
Yes, right now I'm looking at two companies. One would be Carlisle Roofing would make the material, and Truco. Both of those companies have been in business more than 40 years, so I at least have something to go back for, that I have a 20-year service record, that they can produce me a 20-year warranty.
Okay, final thoughts? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much, Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any old business this evening?
No,
Any new business from anyone?
no, Mr. President.
Okay, no executive session, no outstanding action items, one more motion.
Well, before that, we have our new chief administrator here, and would like to hear a few words, if we may.
On the spot.
Also introduce them to the community.
Hello, thank you all. Again, my name is Michael Mestico, and I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you to the mayor, council, Jim, and all the others that have guided the process that I've been a part of here. I'm excited to get started. Thank you for the opportunity, and certainly answer any questions that may still be remaining or that may come about. Now we're into the transition process, but I am very excited and thankful for your consideration and approval this evening. So I'm looking forward to meeting everybody and getting started, and pretty excited.
Wonderful.
We're glad to have you here, Michael. One question, why did you leave your former job?
Because of this opportunity. I wasn't really looking to leave my former position. I very much liked it there and still do. Obviously, I'm there for another month and a half or so. So it wasn't as much looking to leave there as much as it was the opportunity that was presented here, and excuse me, and the opportunity to be in this sort of a municipality and take on this type of a challenge. So.
Well, we all look forward to working with you and getting to know you better.
Yeah, you've done some great things where you've been, so we're excited to have you aboard here. No doubt.
Thank you. Hope to bring the same here as well. So,
Good.
Awesome.
Welcome aboard.
thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, one more motion, everybody?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, council.
Thank you.